Bim, guess what? I don't know. Oh yeah, it's after 8:10. So this is news at 8:10, although technically it's 8:15. And we are live, and we are looking at the news that's happened in the world. Hang on, that might be me being told I'm live on air. Let's have a look. Yep, I'm live on air. Good. That's good to know. So yeah, we're looking at the world news, including what's been going on with Trump. In fact, the main headlines this week is Trump. He's been doing a bit with Putin. He's been doing a bit with Zelensky, with two Y's. And he's also been doing a bit with tariffs, because he likes a good tariff, does our Trump. Off his head, absolutely off his head. Don't forget, you can join in the chat. Hi T, you can join in the chat. You can get a mention at the end of the programme. You can agree with me, disagree with me, it doesn't really matter, it's up to you. And you can also comment in the comment section. If you listen to this as a podcast, don't forget to do this every week. It's live about 8:10 every Thursday, which is slap bang in the middle of the week. If you think about it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's 3 days. Thursday, today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 3 days. So the middle of the week is Thursday, hence the midweek news at 8:10. So shall we crack on with the news? And old Trumpy boy, he's got the trumps, you know, Trumpy boy. So what's been happening? Well, on Friday the 7th, Trump suggests tariffs on Russia after huge strikes on Ukraine. Now, Russia was obviously striking on Ukraine because it was easy to do so, because Ukraine no longer had the backing or the intelligence from America to stop these strikes. But then he says, to be fair, it's what anyone would have done, as in attacking Ukraine when their guards are down and they've got no infrastructure to actually stop them coming. So it all seemed a bit, I don't know, a bit Trumpy. Saturday, at least 25 dead after strikes in Ukraine and attacks on energy infrastructure, which the Russians do a lot, which of course is a war crime. Sunday, Trump says we are stuck with this regarding the Ukraine-Russia conflict. He said he was going to solve it in a day, if you remember rightly. We're like 2 months in. It's not solved yet. Monday the 10th, big falls on Wall Street. All the businesses on Wall Street are panicking, and share prices are plummeting through the ground. This is due to Trump's trade policies, and Trump says he's prepared to put up with a bit of rubbish and a bit of bad feeling of people and a bit of instability in the markets, because in the long term he's going to make America great again. Yay! Tuesday the 11th, Saudi Arabian talks. There's an announcement that Ukraine agree to a 30-day ceasefire. Trump is very happy, but will Russia agree? Trump immediately reinstates the information from the Secret Service and also weapons, etc. Hours earlier, Ukraine launched a huge attack on Russia, including in Moscow, hitting apartment blocks in Moscow. So they've still got a bit of kahunas behind them. Hi Angela, hope you're well. Trump drops double tariffs on Canada after Canada threatens to cut electricity supplies to the USA, because apparently they supply a lot of electricity. Trump didn't realise that. Oopsie. The US stock market falls again, and Trump says Canada should honestly become the 51st state. The new PM, Carney, says he won't budge. He's going to stand up to Trump. Now, he was the guy who was the Bank of England, Canadian Bank of England top dog, whatever you call it, Chancellor Director, whatever it is. Seemed a decent guy, to be fair. I quite liked him in that job. Wednesday the 12th, Putin, who wasn't in a suit, hashtag just saying, visits Kursk, the area that Ukraine took last year from Russia. Our task is to defeat the enemy, he says. Well, yeah, but you're the enemy. So you're going to defeat yourself? Trump aluminium and steel tariffs kick in at 25%, and this is, as far as I'm aware, a worldwide tariff. And the EU consider counter tariffs at the USA, and Canada immediately retaliates with more tariffs. But Keir Starmer sits on the fence. Now, I wrote a bit in the paper this week about having a free trade deal with America, meaning that foodstuffs, etc., from America could come into this country. And this is a week or so after I read quite an in-depth article from the Manchester Council. And they've said that there's a lot of carcinogenic chemicals in these American sweets and drinks that a lot of shops are selling. And they don't think that's a good thing. And I'm like, well, it's not, is it, if they're carcinogenic? But they're coming over from America where they're completely legal. So if we open up free trade to America, you've got all this chlorinated chicken and all this other stuff coming. I'm not sure we want to do that. I'd sooner, as I put in the paper, I'd sooner have foodstuffs from our British farmers, who Keir Starmer seems to hate at the moment, and also maybe the European ones, because they have the same standards as us. So any country that has the same standards as us for animal welfare, chemical usage, etc., and is, not a state that's, doing nasty things to people, then I'm all up for that. I think it's a great idea. America, with their chemicals, with their outlook on things, nah, not at all. Thursday the 13th, that's today. Putin says Russia agrees with the ceasefire deal, but it must lead to lasting, endearing peace. Trump says it is a promising sign, but he's not unvoidly convinced on what Putin said. But Trump said that he's got leverage on Putin. What's he got on Putin? I mean, we all know his sexuality, don't we? Anyway, that was allegedly, just saying. Well, allegedly. Yeah, so we're all saying that. What's that? What is that? Is that? That is that. There you go. So yeah, no, it's all a bit peculiar and a bit weird. Hiya Angela, hope you're well too. Don't forget, you can join in the chat if you wish. A lot of people send me private messages actually about this, and most people seem to enjoy it, which always surprises me, I'll be honest, but there you go. So yeah, what else has been going on this week in the news? Well, going back to Friday, Gene Hackman, he died. He was found dead, if you remember, in mysterious circumstances, in a separate room from his wife, and one of his dogs was dead as well. And lots of speculation, lots of concern as to what had happened. It turns out that Gene Hackman died of a heart condition whilst having late stage Alzheimer's. And this was a week or so after his wife died, maybe unexpectedly, with some kind of virus disease thing. And he may not, because of the Alzheimer's, been aware that his wife had died. So it's just a horrific situation. He may not have fed himself, may not have fed the dog, that kind of thing. So it's just heartbreaking to think that that's how someone's life can end. Let alone someone who's had such an important life. It's I don't know. It's just sad. Meanwhile, in the UK, 3 Bulgarians found guilty of spying for Russia. Reform UK says it's reporting one of its MPs to the police over allegations of threatening behaviour and threats against other members of the Reform Party, which isn't really a party, apparently, it's a business. Who knew? Joe Anderson and Derek Hatton, among others, charged with bribery and corruption regarding the running of Labour Council, Freudian slip, Labour Council in Liverpool from the late noughties to the mid-teens. Be interesting to see what comes of that. Derek Hatton being the very loudmouth guy. I quite took to him in a way. He was quite entertaining in his own little way. But yeah, we'll see. Many others have been charged as well, including people who own and run businesses that did work for Labour Council in Liverpool. Saturday the 8th, a man climbs up the Elizabeth Tower with a Palestinian flag. If you don't know what the Elizabeth Tower is, it's Big Ben Tower, because Big Ben is at the tower. Big Ben's the big bell in the tower, and the tower was called the Elizabeth Tower following the long reign of Queen Elizabeth. Up to that point it was just the tower. Cyclone Alfred hit Australia, at least one dead, and 36 military personnel were injured, some very seriously, after a vehicle sent out to rescue people overturned and then was hit by another military vehicle. And these military vehicles, we're not talking jeepsy, we are talking proper, hardcore battlefields, almost tanks built like. So I can imagine that was pretty horrendous. Sunday the 9th, it was 5 years since the COVID pandemic. I don't quite know how we got to that thing, because I'm pretty sure by March we were already suffering from COVID. Anyway, it seems Sunday the 9th of March was a way of marking the 5th year anniversary since the COVID pandemic began. Canada votes for a new president. Who will it be? Who will it be? Well, we've already said, because it was later on in the week. And Israel says it will stop all electricity to Gaza. Taking a leaf out of the new Prime Minister of Canada there, but in a lot sicker way. Again, what Israel and IDF have done to Gaza is unforgivable. It's a land grab. I've said this pretty much from the first week of it happening. Hamas needed to be destroyed, but the way they're doing it, and stopping aid because they don't get their own way, the Israelis, they're bully boys. Hamas, yeah, they need to be wiped out, but not at the expense of innocent people who are just trying to live their lives. But yeah, now they're threatening to cut the electricity off. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, absolute scum of the earth. 10th of March, which was a Monday, two ships collide in the North Sea, causing explosions and jet fuel in the water. There was also feared there were some very poisonous chemicals on the cargo ship that hit the tanker, but later it turned out those chemicals weren't aboard that ship, although there was obviously oil and diesel and everything for the running of the ship. There was no monstrosity dangerous chemicals. It's a big word. Ed Miliband talks crap about pylons and all that bull that he's coming out with. He's the minister for what was it, green energy, or getting down to net zero and all that. The guy's an absolute lemon. But he says if you live near where they're going to build pylons, don't worry, we're gonna cut your bills, your electric bills, for the inconvenience of having a pylon nearby. But the rest of us are going to have to pay for it. So that doesn't work, does it, Miliband? And let's be honest, as I've said many times before, green energy is not the way forward. We need to carry on using oil and petrol whilst we build small multiple nuclear reactors around the country, so that when we need energy, which is usually winter, nighttime, when it's dark and it's not always windy. So what is the point of having solar panels in fields where we can't grow crops anymore, we can't graze animals anymore, because we've got these solar farms here that don't work when we need the energy? Nuclear power, a lot safer, a lot more effective on the amount of energy it can take from the fuel rods and everything. A lot safer than it was. Everyone keeps saying, oh yeah, but Long Island, oh Chernobyl, oh yeah, but that's 60s technology. We are talking technology now that is so much better. Wind turbines, where are they made? They're made in China. Using huge amounts of steel, aluminium, huge amounts of paint, and then they are shipped over on ships using diesel. They are then transported by trucks using diesel. They are then put up by cranes using diesel. They then have to have massive dynamo transformer things inside the top of all of them, which is full of copper wiring, as well as other metals, etc. Then you've got to cable it to wherever the central point is of that wind farm, which could be, if it's an offshore wind farm, that would be near the beach somewhere on a cliff or something, so all the cables have to go there. and then all the cables from that have to then get to the main network for, well, the grid for the electricity, which is more cables, more metal, more plastics, because every cable has to be wrapped in plastic. The whole thing is an absolute disgrace. And if it's not windy, we get coal from it, and if it's too windy, they have to turn off. Then you have to maintain the things because they've got all these moving parts and everything. So it's not green energy. Anyone thinks for a second that wind power is the future, they are severely misled. Nuclear, we carry on doing what we're doing at the moment. I'm not saying drill baby drill like Trump, but for the time being, it doesn't matter. We need to do what we need to do for us. And let's remember, if the entire United Kingdom disappeared, all of us disappeared, we didn't go anywhere, we just vanished, the whole country vanished, everything on the country vanished, it wouldn't make a jot of difference to the proposed or supposed global warming that's currently going on. We are too insignificant. Ed Miliband needs to be put in a bag and shook up a bit. Yeah, you thought I was going to say something else then, didn't you? But I didn't. Mike Amesbury, the MP, says he will stand down after being convicted for assault. Now, he's the former Labour MP who punched a guy after a night out, knocking him to the floor. One punch I can kind of live with a little bit, although if you're an MP you should be doing it. But then he continued to assault him and shout at him and call him all the names under the sun, so he should have been removed from MPism immediately. And it's not up to him if he resigns. He should have been fired because you have responsibilities. Meanwhile, on Tuesday the 11th, a full life term is given to the triple murderer of the two sisters and their mother in a horrific knife and crossbow attack, you'll remember last year. A 13-year-old girl is charged with murder of a 43-year-old woman after a house fire, which was at arson. And the captain is arrested on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter after the ship collision the day before. Wednesday the 12th. The captain arrested is a Russian national, and one person is presumed dead because one person is missing from either of the ships, sadly not been recovered. Yeah. A lot of people are saying, well, he's Russian, so he's done it deliberately. Is this the first part of World War III? No, he's Russian, he might have been on the vodka. You don't know. No, the whole thing is just very complicated, and people do things for personal reasons. I don't think anyone would be daft enough to ram a ship into a tanker because Putin tells them to do so, or maybe if they didn't, they might end up falling out of a hotel window somewhere at some point, accidentally. Nicola Sturgeon, remember her? No, me neither. Says she won't stand for re-election next year for the SNP. That's some of the best news we've had for a long while politically. This is irony. I love irony. Irony can be so ironic at times if you think about it. Direct quote from Airplane 2. Brazil cuts down a massive track through the Amazon rainforest to make a 4-lane road for the COP30 meeting. You know, the meeting that they have every year that's to stop global warming and to save things like the Amazon rainforest. So they're chopping down the Amazon rainforest in order to people to have a meeting to save the Amazon rainforest. No, me neither. Jonathan Reynolds, MP, Stalybridge, corrects his CV about being a solicitor when he wasn't. Problem is, he said he was a solicitor in the House of Commons on more than one occasion, which means he's lied to the House, which means technically he should resign. But of course he's one of the nodding dogs on the cabinet, so that won't happen. Thursday the 13th, that'd be today, that. You can tell it's today because, well, it's Thursday the 13th, thankfully not a Friday 13th. The teenager who stabbed Elaine over a teddy bear is sentenced to a minimum of 23 years in prison. The father and stepmom of Sarah Sharif will not have the sentences reduced for her murder. Apparently they put in to have an appeal because their sentences were too steep, they thought. No, you killed your daughter, you then left her body in a house completely alone while you fled to Pakistan, and then only a couple of days later you rang the police to go and find the body of your daughter. You deserve to rot in hell. You deserve to rot in prison for life. I am not a person who believes in the death sentence, but I would make exceptions. And guess who would be the first one on my list? Second one being the Southport murderer. Not murderer of Southport, you know, the three little girls in Southport. Absolute scum of the earth. And even to think that they could appeal their sentence, it's just a disgrace. I think because of that, it should just go to an automatic full life sentence. No chance of appeal, nothing. You're in there until you die. Thousands of job losses as the NHS England is abolished. It allegedly, according to Starmer, will help with waiting lists and save money. Now, one thing I've always said about the National Health Service is there are too many chiefs and not enough Indians. There are too many people sat in offices pushing pens around and pressing keyboards who don't actually do anything that help the patients. So I reluctantly agree with this. The problem is the management of the NHS is back in the heart of government where it belongs. The problem with this government is I wouldn't trust them to run a fucking bath, never mind the NHS. So, yeah, worrying times. Will it work? There's only one way to find out, and we'll see at a later time. Very quiet in the chat room, but again, people are still quite new to this thing, so don't worry. Angela said, like Thursday compared to Sunday. Yeah, it's better. It's also slimmed down as well, so it's a lot quicker than it was. So this brings us to the lighter point of the news, and there's quite a bit of it. Including this, which is it's obviously AI mock-up, but Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner sat on the floor in a living room somewhere with some Lego, and they built two little houses, and the quote is, "That's two nearly completed, only 1,499,998 to go." I love it. For those who haven't never seen a catfish, there's a picture there of a catfish. Well, it's more of a picture of a cat with a fishing rod, fishing. My wife called to tell me she saw a fox on the way to work. I asked her how she knew it was on its way to work. She hung up on me. That's the kind of thing I would have said as well, to be fair. In fact, I do, all the time. Remember the old joke in the 70s and 80s that if you bought something brand new and it wasn't working properly, well, it was a Friday afternoon one, wasn't it, when everyone was getting ready to go home for the weekend? Well, do you know it happens in nature as well? When you're the last cat made for the day and there's no matching parts. And there's this picture of this, to be fair, absolutely gorgeous cat with two opposing ginger legs, two turtle shell legs, a blue eye, a brown eye, a white ginger and turtle shell, tortoise shell, whatever it's called, head, and then a body with a ring round it in ginger. Gorgeous cat. We do like cats, it has to be said. If pigeons had a motivational posters, this would be one of them. And that is a picture of a pigeon who's made a nest on a, what does it look like that? It looks like a pipe of some kind, a water pipe, a sewage pipe or something. No, it's got to be a small water pipe, maybe a drain pipe or something like that. And it's got them spikes on it to stop pigeons landing on it. What this pigeon's done is actually made a nest on it. Although, to be fair, it doesn't look like it works very well anyway, because there's bird poo splashed all over the pipe. Now, I've always been joking about, you know, in 2,000 years, when the equivalent of Tony Robinson is digging our bodies up, what will they find? So there's a picture of a skeleton there with superimposed big lips made of plastic and two boobies made of plastic as well. And yeah, I suppose that's what they're going to be finding in 500 to 200 years time. It's quite sad, but also quite true. Be a responsible citizen. Properly dispose of your dog's waste. And there's a picture there of an emoji with a poo emoji with an arrow pointing back to the back of a Tesla truck, because it got like a flat bit in the back of them. Place it in the nearest Cybertruck. If you see Elon Musk, you may also deposit directly into his mouth. So yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax, don't do it. The power of when two tribes go to war. Welcome to the pleasure dome. Welcome. Wah, 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 wah. Well, guess what? They were from Liverpool, but they did make it to Hollywood in the 1980s as well. Now, it's something I've got a lot of beef with. The photographer needs to take a bow, and it's a picture of the side of the Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club, which is represented by a seagull, with a seagull flying past it, slap bang in the middle of the thing, above the actual seagull in the picture. The problem is, everything's wrong about it. The wings are not in the right place, the head isn't in the right place, and it's the wrong colour. It's got black tip wings, whereas the one there has not got black tip wings. So what I would say, rather than take a bow, I would say good attempt, must try harder. Meanwhile, calls for Molly Malone's statue to be raised to stop tourists groping her. There is some street seller, I'm not sure who Molly Malone was, but she looks like an influential woman of the day, and the day being possibly the 1700s. And let's just say the statue has got her wearing a dress that Kim Kardashian would be proud of wearing, if you get my drift. I don't know, there's nothing, she's got these baskets on a little truck thing, a little wooden truck thing. I don't know whether there's any melons in there, but there are some on view. And let's just say that, you know, when a statue is touched for luck, like we've got one in Mains Park in Wigan, and it's a guy who is sat on a chair and he's got one of his feet raised, and his foot is really, really shiny. And that's because in the town it's rubbish foot, and you get good luck. In other places like dogs that have got the top of the head or the muzzle all shiny because people rub them as well, and all that kind of thing. On this one, it's somewhere else where they're rubbing. Like I said, I'm not sure if she sold melons. Did they have melons back in them days? Well, it would appear so. Manchester United have come up with this brilliant idea of building this really, really bizarre building, which is going to be the new stadium for Manchester. Still in Old Trafford, but it means the demolition and restructuring of much of the area. So lots of people are going to lose their homes. I imagine lots of other things are going to be removed, such as industrial units, that kind of thing. They're going to build thousands of houses and everything else. And I'll be honest with you, it looks absolutely awful. However, within a couple of hours, someone had transformed it into a circus, and I must admit I like that better. I think that looks so much better. It's like unbelievable. It just looks awful, and it's going to be pre-built and shipped over, and then brought up the Manchester Ship Canal in bits and then stuck together. So it's only going to take 5 years instead of 10 years to build. How long did it take them to build the thingy building? What was it? The stadium for Everton. About 5 years, I reckon. So, although this is a much grander thing. This is a problem we've had. When the computer comes up on the screen, it says keyboard not found. Press F1 to continue. Delete to enter setup. Of course you can't do, because the keyboard's not been found. Computers are so stupid. The fattest man in the world back in 1890. People actually paid money to see him, and someone's commented this picture of him there, and he is fairly rotundal. That's not even the fattest guy I've seen this evening, and I've been home alone all day. Yeah, amen to that. Now, have you ever seen these, is it real or is it cake programs where they do these amazing things that look like real things, but they're actually cake? I mean, I honestly can't see the point. I mean, it just seems an absolute complete waste of time. And how much cake is wasted being cut off from the cake to make it look like a pair of trainers or a, I don't know, a lamb's testicle. I have no idea. I just don't get it. I just really don't get it. But it's inspired people. And I must admit, this is a really good effort. And if you're a Whovian, Doctor Who fan, I think you'll appreciate the amount of detail that's gone into this. And I have to say, amazing use of Jaffa cakes and Maltesers, and maybe some chocolate fingers as well. This is absolutely stunning. You're going to be blown away. I mean, you'll be thinking, is that a real Dalek? I mean, trust me, this is... I can actually see the point of this one. They've even used a few marshmallows as well. Oh, it just... Oh, absolutely brilliant. Take it all in, folks. Oh, chocolate buttons. I forgot the chocolate buttons as well. I mean, the beauty and the elegance of that. Absolutely. It's one of the best cakes I've ever seen. I'd be proud to have that as a birthday cake, although obviously I couldn't eat it because, well, I'm not allowed to eat chocolate. It makes me ill. Cola bottles. Cola bottles? Hang on a minute. Where's the cola bottles? Oh, there's a flake as well. But no, it's just absolutely a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing, baby. I love it. Absolutely love it. Meanwhile, have I got news for you? Said Rupert Lowe says there's no way back following his row with Nigel Farage. Lowe has been accused of making racist and misogynistic remarks, but even that won't save him. I kind of lost the thread then, I'll do that again. Rupert Lowe, which is a guy who's kicked out of Reform, says there's no way back following his row with Nigel Farage. Lowe has been accused of making racist and that word, remarks, but even that won't save him. Oh, bit of just like that. No, right. I went across the barber shop. I said, how much is an haircut? He said, 20 quid. I said, how much is a shave? He said, a fiver. I said, shave your head. Okay, I can't do Tommy Cooper. I'm the only person in the world who can't do Tommy Cooper impressions. But yeah, love stuff like because it's just silly. I thought this for a while, and I thought I was the only person who thought this about Eddie Izzard and Denise Welch. Never seen in the same room at the same time. Proud mum Denise Welch reveals her excitement at her rock star son headlining Glastonbury as she shares plans to attend her very first festival. Except, of course, we all know it wasn't her very first festival because she was on Celebrity Hunted, which was filmed in 2023, and she saw him in concert at a festival while she was on the run. Yeah. 40 people missing tragically after the first flat earth surfing championship. Do you want to feel old? Bop, baby, bop, baby, baby, bop, baby. That song. That was by Hanson. Do you want to see how they look today? Hanson back in the day with their lusciously long locks, apparently. And as they are today, all fully grown. Still got the unmistakable haircuts of the day. Sorry. Tesco trials bizarre anti-theft trolley scales in store. Tesco is installing giant trolley scales in its latest attempt to curb shoplifting. Trolleys are being weighed before checkout for those using Scan As You Shop to ensure the weight matches the item scanned. Tesco says the aim is to identify items that have been missed or scanned incorrectly or stolen. The supermarket has installed the new technology in selected stores across the UK, including 3 checkouts at Gateshead. Now, multiple issues with this. One is, the best way to stop people shoplifting is to bring back cashiers. So you have to put all your stuff onto the conveyor belt, and it goes down the conveyor belt, the cashier goes beep, 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 and I'm pretty sure every cashier would save more than their hourly wage from saving shoplifting than the cost. So cost effective to do that. Plus, if it's raining and your trolley's wet, it's going to weigh more. Okay, that's a bit of a long shot. Say you do a £120 shop. If you've got a shopping trolley, you're probably going to do something like that, 120, 130 quid shop. £200 shop. Is that really going to notice if you've got an extra packet of Jaffa Cakes in there? No. Absolute waste of time. If you want to stop shoplifting, get back to cashiers. You're welcome, Tesco. You can have that for free. If you're thinking, well, you know, what it look like up close, well, there you go. It looks like something out of a really shit sci-fi movie. It's just peculiar. It really is. Anyway, do you pay rent? Well, this is a look at the rent paid in Greater Manchester. Oh, yeah, Greater Manchester on average a month, calendar month. So Tameside for average rent. What's this? Doesn't really say, but Wigan is 700. What does that say? 898. Bolton is 800 and odd. Bury is 900 and odd. Rochdale 800 and odd. Oldham 900 and odd. Tameside 900 and odd. Stockport 1088. Trafford 1211 a month. Salford on average 1116, and Manchester itself is an average of 1285. Now, in order to become an average, you've got to have higher and lower by equal measure. So I would have thought paying £1,285 a year a month rent is ridiculous. But in order for that to be the average, then some people will be paying £4 or £5 grand a month rent, which is horrific. I need to buy property. A very good sign here. It says 236 persons have drowned in this lake. Wearing life jackets, 0. Not wearing life jackets, 237. It kind of makes sense, yet doesn't make sense at the same time. We like that. We like stuff that doesn't make sense and makes sense at the same time. Which is a bit like this sign here, only in America. Firearms range, there's a sign there, because obviously in America they have shooting clubs and things like that. You can go into gun shops and they often have a shooting range in the back. You'll be familiar with them if you play the Grand Theft Auto games. If you go into the ammunition, a lot of the, well, about 4 or 5 of them have got shooting ranges in the back where you can practice your shooting. The worrying thing is, have you seen it yet? Yeah, it's written in Braille underneath. Now, I know the Americans let anyone have a king gun, which is why there's so much king gun crime in America. But blind people having a gun? Don't think that's a good idea. Unless it's to warn them not to go in that room. But one would have thought they would hear the guns are going off and maybe not want to go in that room anyway. AFC filed. I've put a wanted poster out. Wanted, this trio pictured in the middle. So there's a picture of 3 young lads at the stadium, giving the thumbs up. Crime rather cunningly duped our stadium announcer into asking for a white Nissan Micra NE14ABJ to be moved last night. Anyone for ABJ? Fair play to her. Oh. If you see me talking to myself, just move along. I'm self-employed. We're having a staff meeting. I might set that up in my shop, to be fair, because I'm always mumbling to myself about something or other. Donald and Donald. Donald Duck, turn him upside down. Donald Trump. Who knew? Who knew? Well, anyone really, to be fair. Formula One's coming back this weekend. Very excited. Hopefully Lando or even Oscar get the championship this year. How much did they get paid? Well, Verstappen, 4 times world champion, current world champion, is on £65 million for this year. Lewis Hamilton, who hasn't done much for the last couple of years, is still on £60 million a year. Leclerc is on £34 million. Norris and Pastorami, they're on £20 million each, which is fair. Alonso's also on £20 million. George Russell is on £15 million. Sainz, who's at Williams, is on £10 million. How will Williams afford £10 million? Mind you, Albon, who's also at Williams, gets £8 million. Gasly gets £10 million. And then it drops significantly. Hunkelberg, Ocon both get 7 each. Stroll, whose dad owns the company that he races for, Aston Martin, he only gets 3 million, but his dad owns the company, so it doesn't really matter. Borritello, never heard of him, he's one of the new guys, he's 2 million. Sonoda, I would have thought he's worth more than 2 million, but he only gets 2 million. Mind you, 2 million is, you're not going to sneeze at 2 million, are you? And then the new kids on the block, Antonelli gets 2. Behrman only gets 1. I think he's worth 2 because he scored points. Lawson gets 1 as well. Doohan only gets £500,000, as does Hadjar as well. But again, £500,000 for being a Formula 1 driver. I'd take that any day of the week. Meanwhile, Pierce Brosnan says keep Bond British, even though he's Irish. Pierce Brosnan, who took the role of James Bond from 1995 to 2002, says keep Bond British and treat him with respect after the franchise's creativity was taken over by Amazon. So no doubt it'll be next James Bond will be a black transvestite or something, I don't know. Men abducted by aliens with crab claws as one examined them with a floating eye. Someone called a Looney Brigade. We've got some nutters out on the loose. Not that guy, this guy. Trump feels less special. And goes cool on the UK after King Zelensky, double Y, snap. Donald Trump is said to have gone cool on the UK after King Charles hosted Vladimir Zelensky at the Sandringham estate, with the White House source claiming the president was deeply saddened by this. It's like, he's a baby and he's a baby. Britman shares joy at discovering he's pregnant and says he wants more kids. Macaulay Clark, the first transgender man in the UK to have given birth to a baby following a natural conception, and now his child is almost 2, has spoken about the experience. It's a fucking woman. Does my head in. Trump's got one thing right. Elon Musk claims cyber attack originated in Ukraine after the site went down. Social media site X, formerly known as Twitter, went down earlier for millions of users, with owner Elon Musk suggesting that the country was involved in the cyber attack. Oh, I'm with you on that, Angela. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton's my least favourite driver and has been for a long while. I don't argue he can drive. I don't argue he deserves the majority of his world titles, not the first one. But yeah, he's just a complete dick. Gene Simmons offers fan chance to be a roadie for a day, but there's a catch. Lucky Gene Simmons fans could find themselves helping him out on his tour, even getting to eat a meal with him, but they'll have to fork out for a ticket to the gig. Well, if you're a massive Kiss fan, that's a small price to pay, isn't it, to actually meet Gene Simmons? Yes, no clue. Super vet Noel Fitzpatrick, I always thought it was a bit mad, reckons we'll be able to speak to pets by 2045. The classic story of Dr. Dolittle could be a reality by 2045, according to television vet Looney Noel Fitzpatrick, who reckons we'll soon be able to translate animal talk. It'll be interesting to see how Lewis does with Ferrari, to be fair, but yeah. WH Smiths in serious issues. Could be sold within weeks as only 2 bidders remain for all stores. WH Smith appears to be close to closing a deal regarding the sale of their 500 store portfolio, as declining sales forced the high street giant to evaluate their business. Now Boots has been sold to a new company, and they've mentioned that they'll probably be accelerating the closure of the Boots stores and just keeping open ones that are highly profitable and going online. Poundland is on its last legs. Rumours are that's going to shut all its stores, yeah, that's the end of that. The only shops that seem to be doing okay at the minute in this market are B&M's, who seem to be opening stores, booking the trends, but yeah, there's a lot of stores going. I've also heard rumours that River Island are struggling. New Look, well, they've been struggling for a while, but apparently the roosters have come home to roost. Well, I don't know what the saying is. And there's a couple of others as well that could be on the last legs of the high street, is about to be decimated, not helped by this lovely Labour government who said before don't know their arse from their elbow and don't know how to run a business and are just basically screwing the businesses. And a lot of companies are blaming Rachel Reeves for shutting the shops down because they weren't profitable before, but then you put up living wage, you put up national insurance, you put up the business rates, and the shops are just going to shut left, right and centre. We also lost Gallimores as well. You can read about that in Wigan Today. There's a proper piece on it, and then I mention it in my bit as well. The man climbing Tower Bridge with hood up brings London traffic to a standstill. Traffic in central London has come to a standstill after a man was spotted climbing Tower Bridge wearing a hood, just days after a shoeless bloke scaled Big Ben. Where are we? Dum-de-dum-de-dum, that one. UK cities hotter than Benidorm this week, with temperatures set to climb. After a day of sunshine, some parts of the UK recorded a higher temperature than tourist hotspot Benidorm, with temperatures expected to keep rising throughout March, although we're having a dip at the minute. I went for a walk on Sunday after work, and I didn't want to walk around because I was walking through woods and things like that, and I didn't want to have all my work gear on because it's all badged up, it's all, I thought people might think I'm rich. So I went to Poundland, ironically, and bought a Grandad shirt, the button-up shirts with no collars on, for £3. Didn't realise it was see-through until I got home. But anyway, I went for a walk wearing it, and even though it was like 5, 6 o'clock, by the time I got back to Wigan it was gone 7 o'clock, I was sweating. I'd actually done a few of the buttons because it was that warm. And then the morning after there was frost on the car. Welcome to Britain, that's what I always say. Boy 10 crushed to death by his 24-stone foster mother after she sat on him. Jennifer Lee Wilson, 48 stone, was sentenced to 6 years in prison in the death of 10-year-old Dakota Levi Stevens, who died after he was crushed by his 24-stone mother. Yeah, foster mother. Horrendous. Meanwhile, a TikTok influencer jailed for telling a photo of Jesus to go and get a haircut. A TikTok influencer in Indonesia has been jailed for nearly 3 years after she told a picture of Jesus to get a haircut after Christian groups filed police complaints. I think it's bad in the UK, although to be fair, you probably get 10 years for that in the UK. Oh no, it's Jesus. No, they don't care, do they? A woman mortified after bank told her she was dead and left her without money. Because the Mayo, a 45-year-old woman in Kidderminster, was stunned to learn that a bank had declared her dead by mistake, leaving her without access to her cash for close to 3 weeks. I mean, it's one thing to prove your identity, it's another one to prove you're actually alive. One would think that would be quicker, wouldn't it? Fears World War III started in Hull as foul play not ruled out in North Sea tanker crash. The port city, famed for its marina and stunning old town, topped a list of targets for Putin's nukes last year. Now conspiracy theorists fear World War III has started off its coast. God's sake. Some people need to get a life, don't they? Scientists unearthed evidence that could prove Noah's Ark was real. It's in the Bible, isn't it? Yeah, the Bible's not real. So Noah's Ark's not real. Adam made a completely different joke about that mound, I'll be honest with you. EasyJet pilot suspended after narrowly avoiding air catastrophe with 190 on board. The flight was travelling from Manchester to the Red Sea resort of Hurghada in Egypt when the pilot was forced to take evasive action, narrowly avoiding a mountain peak. It wasn't even a moving mountain, it was a mountain peak on its flight path, and the EasyJet nearly flew into it. Now, the only excuse I can think of is that the pilot was this young man. A teen with wee wolf syndrome sets world record with hair covering 95% of his face. A teenager teased by other children who called him Monkey Boy due to his rare condition has been awarded a Guinness World Record for having the hairiest male face in the world. Now, I'm pretty sure 20-30 years ago there was a couple, was it twins in Mexico or Brazil or something? They had darker hair, but they had a similar condition to this. It's very, very rare. Influencer sparks backlash after taking baby wombat from mother for a photo. Hunting influencer Sam Jones can be seen running across a road holding a young wombat to get a photo while its mother chases after the baby who is clearly in distress. Yes, this sick individual, I've seen the video and I just thought it was sick. I'm like, how can you justify what you're doing? I mean, you know, maybe, I'm not even saying stand near it, but maybe you could stand where you were stood on the road and have it in the distance and do your picture that way. But yeah, some people are just sick in the head. I mean, yeah, she should be deported from Australia. I reckon, get an aeroplane, get her a parachute, fly 400 miles south of Australia and then push her out the aeroplane. That seems fair. She can go and play with the penguins then, can't she? People should ditch alarm clocks. The surprise of waking up is causing a major issue. Nobody likes their morning alarm, but a new study has shown that it actually has some very bad effects that can last for hours and turns us into sleep zombies. I can probably agree with that because I'm really rubbish in the mornings when I wake up. I don't wake up until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 3 o'clock I'm ready for my afternoon nap. Or maybe it's just getting old, I don't know. Old humans and Neanderthals shared tech during history-changing discovery. Although usually portrayed as arch rivals, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals might have had more in common than previously thought, with boffins now believing they traded technology tips, like, you know, how to get your keyboard working when it's showing on the screen that you can only do it by pressing certain keys. You know, one of them would know and the other one would find out. So yeah, brilliant, well done. Mystery alien signal after meteorite strike solved as true origin is discovered. Claims the asteroid material recovered from the Pacific Ocean were interstellar of origin have been thrown into doubt as new research has revealed the true origin of the seismic signals, and they are not rocks. It's more jazz because the aliens love jazz. See what I did there? I'll get me coat. Daily Star staff demand return of iconic brands from Woolworths to JJB Sports. There's no news to report. I know it's a rag and it talks shit, but you know, really. The UK High Street has lost many iconic brands in the last 20 years, and Daily Star's team of keyboard monkeys has taken a trip down memory lane. Now, JJB Sports was founded in Wigan. But no, it's not coming back. None of them are coming back. It's just, they've gone forever, including Woolies. However, having said that, there might be some that might be coming back. T, hold on to your hat. World's fattest panther, who loves beef, as fans are asking, has she eaten a human? Concerning footage of the world's chunkiest panther has surfaced. The overweight cat has many on the internet asking questions, with the zoo claiming the animal is starting a diet. Thankfully, they've cropped the face of the panther off to save it from embarrassment. Nintendo Switch 2 to get fresh rival from Xbox with first ever handheld for 2025. Microsoft reportedly wants to partner with a manufacturer to release an Xbox handheld, putting Nintendo Switch and Valve Steam Deck on notice. Nah. I think Microsoft have kind of lost the plot. When we had the Xbox 360, they had it perfect, they had it nailed on. Everything about it was amazing. The online, the stability of it, the way you could chat with people in different games, all of it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They brought out the Xbox One, they got all this really, really good stuff that they had and they'd worked on for years, put it in a massive bag and threw it out the window. And that's why Sony currently is wiping up. It's not that Sony's any better, Sony's still as crap as it was back in the day. It's not as crap as Xbox is. But anyway, yeah, handheld, no, it's just a waste of money. I had my nipple replaced by a 3D tattoo and finally feel complete again. Dave Talbot, 67, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015 and underwent a mastectomy, followed by chemotherapy and radiotherapy before being declared cancer-free in 2017. So it's all a very happy story and all that. A lot of people don't realise that men can get breast cancer again as well, but what are these things? That's why I got nipples, you know. But he's had a 3D tattoo. So is that a tattoo that looks like a nipple, a 3D nipple? Or is it a tattoo that kind of, they put that much ink on it, it's gone 3D? I don't really understand. Does it tickle when you do that? I don't know. Anyway, a happy story anyway. He's happy, and that's the main thing, as long as he's happy. And well done for beating cancer. Rising from the dead? Question mark. Debenhams. Boohoo, the questionable fashion brand, have bought the name Debenhams and are now changing their branding to Debenhams to change their name. A bit like Sports Direct changed to Fraser Group to make it look posh. But Boohoo's rebranding to Debenhams has met with wide scepticism among industry experts, and when I was told the Daily Star it won't be a silver bullet for them. No, they are in deep poo at the minute, Boohoo, because of some of the stuff they've been doing, mainly woke stuff to be fair. It's all gone tits up for them, so they've rebranded as Debenhams. They're not bringing stores back, they're only going online, so the Boohoo store will be renamed Debenhams. Although I thought someone else owned it, to be fair, and they had it open. But anyway, we'll find out. And we might get a Debenhams popping up here and there, but they'll only be a fraction of the size, and they probably will last for about 6 months. And then finally on this section, opportunity was seen and taken. Kudos to the door installer. So we've got 2 solid wood doors, which are for the male and female toilets, and they've got the usual knots and things in them that you get in wood when you cut it. One looks like a gentleman, and the other one has a look of possibly lady parts. I don't know. Either way, very well done, and thankfully they put them on the right way around. Although to be fair, these days they could probably put them either way around. It wouldn't really matter, would it? Oh, enough of that. Let's move on to breaking news. So what has been occurring what's been breaking whilst I've been breaking the news? Donna Versace leaves her role as head of Versace after almost 3 decades. Oh, she's not had any work done, has she? Good news for shoppers. The former Topshop on Oxford Street has an exciting replacement. That sounds exciting. Tornado in Florida. Rachel Reeves' April car tax changes could see drivers pay up to £15,000 more every year. Oh, let's attack the car drivers, shall we? Including electric car drivers, which amazes me. The UK to be dazzled by northern lights. Where and how to see them? Look up in the sky somewhere where it's very dark, when it's not cloudy. Stormer insists there's no return to austerity, despite benefits and civil service cuts. Of course not. Fury at Tesco's new security checkouts brutally compare to UK borders. Oh, that thing we were looking at before. John Lewis lost the middle classes to M&S. Now it's fighting to win them back. I've never shopped at either of them. Newcastle strikes continue as redundancies loom. There's not only Newcastle, well, there's in Scotland. There's a lot of stuff going on with the bin men being on strike and everything. Keir Starmer has no conviction, and here's why that's a good thing for Conservatives. I suppose. Keir Starmer abolishes the NHS England to bring health service back to the heart of government. Like I said before, you don't want this government running the National Health Service when they can't even run a bath. Trump calls on Russia to do the right thing after Putin agrees on need for ceasefire, but has serious questions on US proposals. I think he wants the minerals for himself. What Putin wants for exchange for a ceasefire, will Trump accept? Probably the minerals. Eric Trump holds friendly talks with Sweeney despite SNP making it impossible to do business. Calling a college a numpty is not discrimination. Well, obviously not, because some of them are numpties. Please give them more time to question the captain of the North Sea crash ship. Please close investigation into pro-Palestinian protesters. Trump administration asks Supreme Court to uphold order after curtailing birthright citizenships. Starmer issues blunt warning about Putin as Russia rejects, that's an old one, ceasefire. Homebase issues message to customers after a wave of store closures. Yeah, if you got a gift card, use it now. That's probably what it is. EVs 50% cheaper to run than a petrol car. but with higher upfront costs, here's how many years you'll need to drive it to break even. Yeah, and then you've got the environmental damage it's going to do when you need to get rid of the battery. Not compared to the environmental damage you've got when you're putting all the EV points in, including all the copper pipes, copper wiring, which is made of copper, which is a precious metal, which is then surrounded by 3 cores of plastic, which is then buried, usually under tarmac, which is made of oil, which has to be replaced. No. Putin agrees to ceasefire. A model train maker Hornby to quit ailing London stock market. Storm announces axing of NHS England to cut bureaucracy in health service. Will cost an absolute fortune, someone says. Rachel Reeves' budget leaves seaside towns on the brink as peer bosses fear dramatic national insurance charges. Is that it? DLN strike on Britain's biggest intercity rail line. Okay. TV licence, car tax and 4 other bills set to rise as awful April approaches. Oh, it's the bloke. 5-star singer Stedman Pearson dies age 60. He was one of the boy members of... doesn't look 60 on there. I think there's been some work done. But yeah, 60 is no age. I should know. Keystone issues blunt warning about... Oh, we've done that one. Bereaved pensioner afraid to answer the door. She faces eviction from a home over 30 years. Yeah, I think there should be a thing where if you've lived in the house for a certain length of time, and you're an elderly person and you can still live in the house, then you should be allowed to live in your house. What is NHS England? Basically, NHS England is... That's where it gets complicated. You've got the government, then you've got the Secretary of State for Health, and then you've got like civil servants. Then you've got NHS England, and then they're kind of in the middle of this thing where then they kind of give everything out to all the people below them. So you end up with the NHS trusts, the consultants, the doctors, the nurses, and then eventually at the very bottom is the patients. And yeah, it's all very peculiar. It's all very, very peculiar, in a not a good way. So getting rid of that kind of works. And I've always said there's too many managers and not enough nurses and things like that. So if the money that they save from this actually goes on nurses and doctors, then I can see it being actually a good thing. The problem is, this Labour government will probably spend it on other crap that doesn't need spending on. You know, I mean, I think Trump's an absolute moron. A numpty. I can say numpty, apparently. I can call him a numpty. It's fine. But some of the stuff he's come up with is a genius. And even Starmer with this is, you know, less of a numpty. No, he's still a tosser. But no, it's one of them things that I think we need to see how things develop over a period of time. And let's be honest, things can only get better. You know, it does take a long while to get things sorted. I mean, once you're in the NHS, once you've got past the A&E waiting area, and you're actually within the infrastructure of it, it's brilliant. I mean, I know, weirdly, 2 people who were told you need to have a scan, and within a week they'd both had a scan. It's completely separate, don't know each other, I just know both of them. And that's brilliant, that's great. That works, but that's what the NHS is meant to be. Obviously we got a lot of backlog though from COVID, because it was like, you know, you weren't allowed to go to hospital, you weren't allowed to do this, and people weren't allowed to stand near each other, and you need to stand near each other, you're doing like, you know, mammary things, you know, women's breast cancer checks and all that kind of stuff. It's got to be close quarters. You couldn't do that because COVID. So there's all these things that have kind of gone on and all escalated things. So anything that can help, I think, is a good thing. So I think that will be a good thing. But the problem is, like I said before, if the government are running it, we're screwed. Don't hold your breath. Whatever you do, don't hold your breath. Top Gear legend Richard Evans launches a new Morgan sports car. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else? Stoner has been mugged by reality since general election. What does that mean? Senior Tory. Yeah. Former Shadow Chancellor Ed Ball says plans to cut disability benefits won't work. Yeah, I think that is it. So there you go then. How sounds? She's alright. She's milling around at the minute. She's hunky dory. She's mine. I like to keep these for about an hour, and we've done an hour and 6 minutes, so that's as near as damn it, isn't it? And it's still early. It's not even 25 past 9. So yeah, excellent stuff. So a big shout out to Angela, the only person who's contributed in the chat. T as well. And anyone else who's watched, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, listen on the podcast. Please feel free to comment in the comments. And again, tell your friends who are into podcasts if they like this kind of thing. It's one reason why I describe a lot of this stuff that goes on in the pictures, because thank you, what is that? Have I still got the breaking news on? Have I still got the breaking news on? I thought I got rid of the breaking news. That's what's confusing me. There we go. Breaking news has gone. Oh, I moved across. Oh, no, let's move it back again. There we go. So yeah, it's I've lost my train of thought then because of the breaking news thing. I was very confused. What's going on? Anyway, yeah, that is it. So thank you very much for watching. We've had a couple of likes. The viewer count is lower because it's just a weird time, but people get used to it. Or they watch it more later on. I like to cover stuff differently than everyone else, and give my opinion as well, which of course, if you work on a news channel, unless it's Talk TV or GB News, you're not allowed to do. No, unless it's BBC. Oh, and Sky, you're not allowed to do other than that. Oh, and ITV News. But other than that, you're not allowed to give your personal opinion or hint at your personal opinion, because you're meant to be neutral. But I'm not. I'm not neutral. I will say it as I find it, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, thank you very much. I will see you all again next time. In fact, I will be seeing you. Until then, this is where silence comes in and starts tapping me on the arm for a bit of affection. Bye.